No, but truly, there is no other country that I learned that says yeah, so that would be good. Oh, boy, these three levels, even in social media. Have a good Thank you. 6 months already. Yeah, she was in Slovakia. I was told that right now they're not going to present it as when the items come up, I know for PV27, something that I will go, but since that is the information we review, we are ready for us. I will ask more about 2021. We are prepared. There'll be a break. There'll be a break before we go into this. Then we can talk to both CPM and Montano. Let's see what the evidence perfect picture. You and I. Yeah. Okay. I will avoid that. Hearing what they're saying, I will avoid that. He's very we have to hide something. He's on. Listen, you're on a good
All the delegates are requested to please take their respective seats as early as possible, please. For those countries in the front, if the minister is not here, will the other delegates please fill the place? Yeah. If the minister chair is empty, can a delegate please fill in? Those at the back can move forward, please. On my left, there are a few seats vacant here. We want to ask if Lizzie can hear us. Can the Director General of WHO, Dr. Tedros, hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, Your Excellency.
Oh, great, great, great. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to see you.
Yeah, very good to see you too, although virtually.
Longing to meet you very soon. I've been waiting. We are missing you in this meeting.
Yes, me too, me too. I just came back from DRC a couple of hours ago. I actually wanted to join you, but I couldn't because of the trip to DRC with the Secretary General.
Yes.
I wish I could be with you, but
Yes.
unfortunately it didn't happen.
Yes, Dr.
But
Barnard
of
told
course,
us.
virtually, I'm happy that we have at least virtual.
Yes, yes, yes. Dr. Barnard told us about your difficulty in attending this meeting, but we are certainly missing you here.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
At least the very fact that you are going to address us from there, that's the only consolation for us.
I didn't want, we agreed with my sister Poonam to do it live
Yes.
because the pre-recorded is not, it's just one way. This is better.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm so happy to talk to you.
Thank you, thank you.
So, distinguished representatives, welcome back after the lunch session. And we shall now take point 2. And as you just heard me talking to the Director General of WHO, benefited from now. And also on behalf of the Regional Committee, I would like to welcome Dr. Bernard Chapti D. Cabne, who is representing Dr. Tedros here, the DG of WHO in this meeting. Since Dr. Tedros could not be personally present for the Regional Committee session this time, as he himself expressed just now, his inability because of reasons which are beyond his control, we will now connect with him live to Geneva for his address. So, we request WHO people to ensure that we connect with him live now. So I request Dr. Tedros to please bless us with his words of wisdom, so that the countries in the Southeast Asia region can also enjoy his guidance and blessings. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. First of all, I would like to start by thanking you, Your Excellency. I was so happy to receive your book, The Two Drops, and thank you so much indeed. And a signed copy, and I'm very grateful. Your Excellency, Dr. Harsh Vardhan, Honorable Minister of Health and Family Welfare of India, and Chair of the Regional Committee, Excellency Ms. Bichan Wangmo, Minister of Health of the Royal Government of Bhutan and Vice Chair of the Regional Committee, Honorable Ministers and Heads of Delegation, my sister, Regional Director, Dr. Poonam Ketrapal Singh, dear colleagues and friends, first of all, I would like to say namaste. It's such a great honor to be talking with you, and I'm so that I can't be with you in person. I offer my congratulations to all of the new ministers, including the Honorable Minister of Health and Family Welfare of India. As you know, I had planned to speak to you yesterday, but I was with the Secretary General in DRC and I was not able to connect. But thank you so much for your flexibility and for accommodating me in your program today. I would like to once again congratulate you, my sister Poonam, on your re-election for another term as Regional Director. I should have actually been with you when you started your second term, so I'm sorry for that. I echo the call she made yesterday to sustain the gains you have made, accelerate progress, and innovate. You have many achievements to celebrate, especially in relation to the 8 regional flagships which Dr. Shotlander summarized in his remarks yesterday. He listed many diseases that have been eliminated in your countries in recent years, but gains can easily be lost. Just last week, 4 European countries lost measles-free status. He listed many of the diseases that have been eliminated in your countries in recent years. None of us can afford to be complacent. I'm impressed with the progress you have made on measles and rubella in the region. 5 countries have already eliminated measles. These are Bhutan, DPR Korea, Maldives, Sri Lanka, and Timor-Leste. And 6 have controlled rubella. These are Bangladesh, Bhutan, DPR Korea, Maldives, Sri Lanka, and Timor-Leste. Vaccination rates have increased significantly across the region, leading to a 75% reduction in mortality due to measles since 2000. By the end of this year, an estimated 400 million children will have been protected against measles and by a vaccine. This is a stunning achievement, and congratulations. Your success rightly is prompting you to raise the bar. Instead of eliminating measles and controlling rubella by 2020, this week you will consider a new goal to eliminate both diseases by 2023. This is a bold commitment that will require you to address challenges including immunity gaps, suboptimal surveillance, and inadequate financing. But I am a firm believer in setting ambitious targets that force us to stretch almost to breaking point. Rest assured that you have the Secretariat's full support in working toward the Southeast Asia region that's free of measles and rubella, and we will be with you the whole way. I'm also pleased to see your commitment to accelerating the elimination of cervical cancer as a public health problem. Like measles and rubella, cervical cancer is an entirely preventable disease. There is no reason any woman should die from it. And yet, they do. Last year, almost 100,000 women lost their lives to cervical cancer in this region. That's why WHO has launched a global initiative to eliminate cervical cancer. I congratulate Bhutan, Maldives, Sri Lanka, and Thailand for introducing the HPV vaccine nationally. I'm glad to hear that Bhutan spoke yesterday about its commitment to eliminating cervical cancer. We understand that vaccine shortages and prices are a barrier for many other countries. The WHO is committed to working with you and the vaccine manufacturers to ensure that all women have access to this life-saving tool. Excellencies, colleagues, and friends, this region is prone to emergencies of all kinds. Just in the past year, you have witnessed the destruction of Cyclone Fani in India and Bangladesh earthquakes and tsunamis in Indonesia, floods and landslides in Myanmar, an outbreak of Nipah virus in India, and the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Cox's Bazar. I congratulate you for the way the region has responded to each of these emergencies. Your efforts have saved lives and prevented suffering. You have also made good progress on emergency preparedness. 8 of the 11 member states have completed joint external evaluations, and your core capacities under the international health regulations have improved significantly over the past decade. I also congratulate Thailand on becoming the first country in the region with a WHO classified emergency medical team. The flagship priority on emergency risk management implemented by the regional director is bearing fruit. Cyclone Fani is a perfect example. Although 64 people tragically lost their lives without the early warning and evacuation system, many more people could have died, and the costs could have been much higher. This underlines a key point. Countries that invest in emergency preparedness will save lives and save money. The current Ebola outbreak in DRC is a case in point. Preparations in neighboring provinces and countries have helped to prevent Ebola from spreading. Although there have been imported cases in Uganda and in the city of Goma, preventive measures have stopped the virus from getting a foothold. The Delhi Declaration on Emergency Preparedness, which you adopted this morning, is a vital step forward towards making the region safer for all its people. Although it's not classified as an emergency, the enormous burden of tuberculosis in Southeast Asia region demands the same urgent response as an outbreak or natural disaster. As you know, half of all deaths from tuberculosis globally are in this region, even though it's home to just 1/4 of the world's people. Following the high-level meeting on TB at the UN General Assembly last year, I wrote to heads of state and heads of government of 48 countries with the highest TB burden, including from this region, urging them to accelerate country action to meet the end TB targets. To meet those targets, this region needs to reach and treat at least 10 million people with latent TB infection by 2022. This will require an urgent and rapid scaling up of access to preventive treatment, which is lower in this region than any other. The Regional Action Plan on Latent TB Infection estimates the investments needed to find and treat all those who need it. They are not insignificant, but they are investments that would yield a rich reward. More than 1.3 million cases of TB would be averted and more than 84,000 lives would be saved. The long-term gains in terms of treatment costs avoided and increased productivity would be huge. Excellencies, colleagues and friends, emergency preparedness, measles and rubella, cervical cancer, tuberculosis, each of the issues I have discussed presents unique challenges that demand a unique response. But the common denominator for addressing each of them is strong primary health care, as you would agree with me, and a commitment to universal health coverage. You heard from India yesterday about the impressive progress it's making as part of its Ayushman Bharat scheme. But as Dr. Singh said, you still have a long way to go as a region. On current trends, fewer than half of your countries will achieve more than 80% of coverage of essential services by 2030. Far too many people lack access to essential health services, and far too many experience catastrophic health spending or are pushed into extreme poverty by out-of-pocket health spending. As I always say, health is a political choice. The road to universal health coverage can be a long one, but the starting point is always strong political commitment. We urge you to do everything you can to bring your head of state or head of government to the high-level meeting on universal health coverage at the United Nations General Assembly later this month. And I hope to see all of you there. We also call on all countries to mobilize more domestic resources for health, to expand services, improve the quality of those services, and increase financial protection. One of the key ways to do that is by raising taxes on tobacco products, alcohol, sugary drinks, and other products that harm health. This is a win-win because it helps to generate revenue that can be invested in health, and it helps to prevent non-communicable diseases by reducing the consumption of products that cause them. All this you know, I'm just reminding. This is especially important for tobacco, which remains the biggest cause of preventable morbidity and mortality in the region, despite signs of declining tobacco use. However, all of your countries show rising alcohol consumption, rising levels of obesity, and a projected rise in people with hypertension. Without urgent and decisive action, these trends are a health crisis in the making. Excellencies, colleagues and friends, WHO is committed to supporting you to address each of the challenges you're facing. And we're committed to becoming the organization you need us to be. Since we last met 12 months ago, the regional directors and I have been hard at work in transforming WHO into an agile organization that works seamlessly across all three levels to deliver the Sustainable Development Goals. We now have a new program budget to support the general program of work which you approved at the World Health Assembly last year. To build this new budget, we turned our planning process upside down so that country needs explicitly drive the work of headquarters and the regions, because we have to support you based on your priorities. For example, I've worked together to define exactly what headquarters will produce in the coming biennium. As a result, we now have a list of nearly 300 specific global public health goods, the technical tools you need to make progress towards the $3 billion target. But we're not just changing what we do, we're also changing how we do it. Our new operating model aligns the organization at all three levels and will enable us to work together more effectively and efficiently. One of our key priorities was to make sure every single WHO employee can connect their work to the corporate priorities. Today, 75% of staff can link their day-to-day work to the general program of work, compared with only 47% at the start of this year. We're also committed to increasing diversity across the organization. We have already achieved several quick wins by moving with affirmative action. We have started rolling out 13 new or redesigned processes to harmonize and optimize the way we do business, from the way we develop norms and standards to recruitment, procurement, communications, and more. And we have announced plans for the WHO Academy, a major initiative to revolutionize health learning globally and train health workers to implement WHO norms and standards. Excellencies, colleagues, and friends, thank you for your commitment and support. I leave you with three requests. First, I urge you to mobilize domestic resources to invest in primary health care, which must be the top priority for every country, and you know it. This is not only the foundation for achieving universal health coverage, it's also the foundation for making progress on all other issues I have discussed: measles and rubella, cervical cancer, emergency preparedness, tuberculosis, and more. As I said, raising taxes on tobacco products, alcohol, sugary drinks, and other health-harming products is a win-win for health that we encourage all countries to pursue. Second, I urge you to invest in emergency preparedness. The joint external evaluations have shown where the gaps are. Now, all countries must act decisively to close those gaps. Third, the high-level meeting on universal health coverage in New York next month is a vital opportunity to catalyze political commitment. We need as many heads of state or government present as possible. I urge you to do everything you can to make sure your leaders are there in New York to show their commitment to universal health coverage. And look forward to seeing you too. Thank you once again for your commitment and support. I assure you of mine. I wish you a very productive meeting as we work together to promote health, keep the world safe, and serve the vulnerable. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you, Dr. Tedros. It was a moment of great pleasure and privilege for us to have you amongst us in this meeting, though remotely. But we are feeling blessed with your message, and we will fully endorse, we will take it forward with our heart and soul into the whole program. And as you rightly said, that we can't afford to be complacent, and your faggot of the speech rightly mentions that we have to focus on primary health care, we have to focus on tuberculosis, measles, rubella, tobacco, emergency preparedness, and we'll take all these things, and of course the universal health insurance. Already we have sensed the mood of this meeting. The people in the region are already focused on all these issues, but your message will go a long way in taking all these issues forward, and we promise that the Southeast Asia region will not let you down. We'll all work together to see that the unfulfilled goals are now realized in the near future. Thank you for your presence, and we look forward to your visit to India very soon.
I would be honored. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Excellencies and distinguished representatives, the Director General's address provides useful and welcome guidance to all of us, the member states of the region, to further strengthen their health development efforts as well as planning for future collaboration with WHO. It has illustrated how WHO's contributions would lead to eventual impact at the country level, especially in line with the 3 strategic priorities and the triple billion goals associated with them. Now, Excellencies, distinguished representatives, now we have to move forward to the next agenda. For the intervention on the agenda items, I would appreciate maintaining a maximum time of 3 minutes. This is agenda item number 10 for the governing body matters, and we are now dealing with sub item 10.3, elective posts for governing body meetings, WHA, EB and PBAC. So accordingly, the traffic light will be green for 2 minutes and will turn amber for the last 1 minute. It will turn red once the allocated 3 minutes are over. Let's now take up agenda 10, which is about governing body matters. As you will kindly observe, this agenda item has 3 sub items. So let us now take up sub item 10.3, elective posts for governing body meetings, WHA, EB and PBAC. Discussions on the remaining sub items under this agenda will be taken up during the course of this meeting. Excellencies, the WHO Secretariat has requested that we consider and take a decision on elective posts of office bearers for the 73rd World Health Assembly and the 147th session of the WHO Executive Board and the membership of the WHO Executive Board from our region. According to the established practice, the proposed selection of elective post of EB and WHA members from the region has been suggested, and it will now be presented to facilitate decision by the regional committee. I request DPM to make the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Next, please. So, as the Chair already pointed out to you, there are three proposals to be considered for regional distribution of elective posts. First, for the World Health Assembly, the Executive Board, and the PBAC. So, for the 73rd World Health Assembly in May 2020, we are required to consider a Vice President, Vice Chairperson for Committee A Rapporteur for Committee B, Member for General Committee, and also a member for Committee on Credentials. For the 147th Executive Board in May 2020, we have to nomination of one EB member to replace Sri Lanka and chairperson for the Executive Board. For the 32nd meeting of the Program Budget and Administration Committee, which is the PBAC, we nominate one member to replace Indonesia. Next, please. So the proposal is that for the regional suggestions for elective posts from this region for the 73rd World Health Assembly. For the Vice President, the country proposed is Thailand. For the Vice Chairperson of Committee A, the country proposes Sri Lanka. Rapporteur for Committee B, the country proposes Bhutan. Member for the General Committee, country proposes Nepal. And member for General Committee on Credentials, Timor-Leste. Next, please. Regional suggestions for the elective posts from C region for the 147th Executive Board. Currently on EB, the members from our region are Bangladesh, whose membership goes up to May 2022, Indonesia, who go up to May 2021, and Sri Lanka to May 2020. Therefore, the member state from C region who will replace Sri Lanka in May 2020 when Sri Lanka's term expires, the proposed country is India. Also, the chairperson for the EB from our region suggested is again. For the regional suggestion for the elected posts from the C region for the 32nd Program Budget and Administration Committee, or the PBAC, currently the PBAC members from our region are Bangladesh, whose membership goes till May 2021, and Indonesia, May 2020. Therefore, the member state from our region replace Indonesia, whose term expires in May 2020, is India. Thank you.
Are there any comments or observations from the floor on the proposals for elective posts and the Executive Board membership? In the absence of any observations, we approve the proposals as presented by WHO Secretariat. The regional director may please inform the WHO headquarters accordingly. Thank you.
We're going to have the exercise now, 3 by 3.
Somebody is there?
And then after that we'll have break. Shall we continue?
Continue this. Excellencies, distinguished representatives, let us now take up agenda item number 7, that is Program Budget Matters. I wish to reiterate here that this agenda item has been extensively deliberated upon by our representatives at the 12th meeting of the Subcommittee on Policy and Program Development and Management held on 5th July 2019. And they have made recommendations for the consideration of the 72nd Regional Committee. The working papers available online provide full background on each item. We may therefore like to focus our deliberations on the key points which have been placed in the text box on the cover page of each working paper. As you will observe, agenda item 7 has two sub-items. Let us first take up sub-item 7.1, that is Program Budget 2018-2019, Implementation and Midterm Review. I draw your attention to documents SCARC 72/4 and SEARC 72/4 info.doc.1. Financial and technical implementation of program budget is continuously monitored by the responsible officials of the budget centers. The region continues to focus efforts and resources to be in line with country priorities and the 8th regional flagship priority areas, which were identified after extensive consultations with member states. This working paper provides information on the technical monitoring of the program budget 2018-19 for the 18 months of the biennium. This interim assessment was conducted in line with the organization's results-based management approach and commitment to member states to conduct 6 monthly interim monitoring, besides the midterm monitoring and end of biennium assessment. The financial implementation is provided as of 16th of August 2019. I beg to repeat, the financial implementation is provided as of 31st of August 2019 and not 16th of August as I said earlier. The program budget 2018-2019 has been shaped by a dynamic and iterative priority setting process that started with the bottom-up identification of priorities and costing of results to be delivered in member states and by the region as a whole. Approved by the 70th World Health Assembly, it is the primary instrument for expressing the full scope of work of the organization, along with the roles and responsibilities at all 3 levels of the organization. I now give the floor to the honorable delegates to make their comments and observations on the subject.
Please kindly raise your flag in case you wish to speak.
I first invite the representative from Indonesia to post your observations here in this meeting. Please. Representative from Indonesia.
Yeah. Honorable Chair, Excellency, distinguished delegates. First of all, I would like to thank the Secretariat for preparing result report for the program budget 2018-2019 midterm review. The report not only explains the implementation of the budget, also demonstrate the achievement of relevant program output, particularly on health emergency, communicable and non-communicable diseases, including polio eradication, also promotive and preventive measures. Indonesia appreciates and congratulates that our work in CRO has made some significant improvement on reporting, compliant with no overdue report. There are improvements in missile elimination, preventing and controlling communicable disease, and strengthening health system. We also underline that the achievement of the expected for all categories have reached more than 90% and need to be maintained in the future. Honorable Chair, we encourage the WOCRO to accelerate the implementation of the program, as we acknowledge from the background document that the percentage of implementation vis-a-vis resources remains 70%. We have only a few months left within this year. We urge the Secretariat to conduct a systematic evaluation to see the challenge of the implementation and identifying the way out to accelerate the implementation rate. We also urge the WCO member state to monitor the WCO representative implementation. We have to aware that failing to meet the target of implementation in this biennium could negatively impact to the next biennium budget allocation. In our own part, Indonesia has improved joint collaboration to enhance the program achievement and optimize the realization. We continuing joint planning, monitoring, and evaluation of the program that have been implemented on a regular basis to ensure that the target set for the program. We appreciate and enjoy close collaboration with the WCO Indonesia Country Office in translating the new strategy of the GPW30 into programmatic plan and action. Finally, we are looking forward to the opportunity in which both WCO and all member states will work closely together to achieve our common goal, that is health for billion. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Indonesia. I now invite Thailand to make your observations.
Thank you, Chair. Thailand thank the Secretariat for preparing this project of implementing program budget 2018-19. We are pleased to note full funding of approved PB 2018-19 in our regions. The key of success is the resources mobilization effort. Thailand appreciates the high utilization rate, 75% to allocate program budget and 82% to resource of SEA. Is the high performing program in SEA. Thailand notes in table 5 that funding to SEA is increasingly favorable in the last 3 biennium program budget, from 90% to 100% of the approved program budget. We note the regional director flagship programs continue to guide allocation of resources. 77% of regional resources have been distributed to country office, while 23% for the regional office. In Annex 1, we note that the implementation rate in some countries are behind the regional average. This requires the acceleration in effective implementation of the national programs, as well as monitoring by the regional country office and zero. In conclusion, Thailand notes with appreciation that funding situation is favorable program implementation has been improved and outperforming than other region and global average. The remaining tasks are to ensure the effectiveness of program implementation and your favorable outcomes. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Thailand. Now I invite Bhutan for your observations.
Thank you, Chair. Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Bhutan would like to report our of the program budget 2018-19 on implementation and midterm review. Bhutan appreciates the work of WHO on monitoring and evaluation of program budget to track the progress and to ensure value for money. We observe midterm review exercise of program budget as facilitate in the smooth implementation of plan and activities outlined in the work plan. Bhutan feels such assessment and exercises by the regional and the country office is encouraging as our region makes steady progress in the overall health development, including 8 regional flagship areas. In Bhutan, Ministry of Health, in collaboration with WHO Country Office and the Gross National Happiness Commission, carries out quarterly review of PB implementation. The coordination has enhanced in the smooth implementation of the PB-related work and other WHO support. Till date, we have 0 DFC overdue, and this may be due to the fact that Ministry of Health and WHO Country Office has agreed that all the DFC activities completed has to be reported within 30 days after completion of the activity. We acknowledge the WS effort in ensuring the quality implementation of the program budget. As WHO resources allocation is increasingly focused more at country level, we would also like to request the support of WHO in developing the capacity level in order to achieve full implementation of the program and activities. We ensure our support in accelerating the implementation of program budget 2018-19. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Bhutan. Now I request Sri Lanka to present your observations.
Honorable Chair, while agreeing with the Thailand statement on fund allocation to the country office in the WHO programmatic and the financial reports for 2018 and 2019, it is among programs and offices. However, strong internal controls have been recognized by the multilateral organization performance assessment network assessment of the WHO. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Lanka. I request Nepal to present your observations, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Excellencies. Nepal would like to thank WHO Secretariat for the implementation and midterm review report of Program Budget 2018-19. Firstly, we would like to appreciate the Secretariat and congratulate Madam RD for making commendable progress on program implementation. Nepal noted different country success and achievements in the period and would like to congratulate the respective countries and the Secretariat for the same. With regard to the financial implementation of the program budget, it is good to note that 86% of the allocated budget has been distributed. So far, the utilization of the program budget is concerned, we observed slightly low at just 54% of the allocation and 62% of the distribution at point of the time when we have only a quarter of the total duration left for execution. It also reflects that regional offices and member countries have to work closely to execute it. In case of Nepal, we are in transition and several structural reforms are underway. However, we will be sensitive to timely execution and are doing our best. Nepal appreciates WHO Secretariat for laying the solid foundations of Resource Mobilization Strategic Framework 2019-23 with advocacy plans for the investment case and coordinated engagement plans for new and existing donors, which will ultimately ensure adequate funding and execution of the program budget. At last, we acknowledge the midterm and implementation review report of the program budget 2018-19. Thank you.
Thank you, Nepal. I request Maldives now to present your observations.
Thank you, Chair. Maldives would like to commend the reports by Secretariat briefing